Not get. I'm sorry. You wanted to do the cut first.
Yeah,
I didn't want to jump into the.
That's fine.
All right, cool. How does
Welcome you all to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Colleen Witt, and today we have special guest, actor, comedian, writer, and social media influencer, how we all know him best of all, Clayton Thomas is in the building.
How are you?
Good.
Okay.
What do you have us eating today?
This is called under $20. Okay.
Under 20.
We got boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We have broccoli, and that is going to be that. With our former grill, of course, which is not under $30, but this is how you get it done if you only got $20 on you.
So is that what we're going to call this dish? Under 20?
Under 20.
Under 20.
Absolutely.
I love that you're using a George Foreman.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen, so just backstory on George Foreman. So I went to my husband, I said, we need a George Foreman grill. I haven't seen one of those in forever. And then I was like, do you think we have one? And he was like, I don't know, check the cabinet. And I go in my cabinet, though I have never in my life used a George Foreman grill, I had two. I had a mini one and this one.
Shout out to success.
And shout out to all the roommates that I had in my lifetime that left George Foreman grills in my house.
Here's the question. Why are you not familiar with the Foreman? Because even now, glory be to God, the success, I still own a Foreman grill.
Do you still use it though?
I used one 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I pulled it out of the garage because I was like, I want some chicken because my wife is plant-based, so she doesn't cook any meat. So I got to outsource my meat. Hella balls. So I had to go get me my Foreman grill out the garage. It's definitely...
Smaller, right?
No. It's
bigger? Oh, you luxury brand.
Well, here's the thing. So my first Foreman grill, can we say everything on there?
You can say whatever
Okay,
you want.
cool. So the first Foreman grill I had, I was smashing this older chick, right?
Oh.
And I had the
love this.
roommates. I had the roommate situation.
Yeah, of course.
And wow.
I think if you have a Foreman grill and you don't
Yeah.
have roommates, it doesn't make sense,
It doesn't
right?
make sense. I got my rice cooker from my roommates, but the Foreman grill, smashing this older chick,
Uh-huh.
and she knew I was going through it. And she was like, you need a Foreman grill. And I was like, because I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know. I mean, I'm breakfast. I'm eggs, pancakes, all of that. I don't do the bacon because the grease pop. But the Foreman grill, she gave it to me, and I kept it, right, until I got with my wife, and she heard the story of how I got the Foreman grill. And then she was like, oh, you can't have that in my house. And I was like,
Okay.
all right. So I got rid of it, and I ended up buying another one separately that was brand new, so she couldn't, claim anything. But yeah, the Foreman
So
grill.
you got the nice one when you got it. Okay.
Yes.
Damn, I want to see what that puppy looks like.
I was gonna bring it. I was like, does she need me to bring a Foreman grill? And then I was like, oh great, she's solid.
What do you have us
Okay.
eating?
Boneless, skinless chicken thighs,
Okay.
broccoli. Now, when we talk about the season salt, I see you got the Kroger brand here.
I did.
But I like, everybody knows what this red top is. We ain't gonna say the name. But
Go
this is what I
ahead,
prefer.
Lowry's is in the building.
You gotta have it. If you're not making chicken with Lowry, is this my camera or is this my camera?
You have both cameras. You can
All
say
right,
it.
here's the thing. Lowry's is a staple in the black community. You understand me? If you ain't got no Lowry's, you're not cooking chicken. I don't know what you're making. Actually, you put Lowry's on everything. Then we have the ground pepper, black pepper. Then we have my garlic powder. This is what gives you the pop. You understand me? Now, oh, perfect. You got it. So this is the poultry seasoning. The chicken poultry seasoning is what you also add for flavor. Now, interestingly enough, I put this on the chicken and I put this on the broccoli because it gives two
Really?
different flavors when you tasting them both separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually personally went shopping for the seasonings, and then a part of me was like, we'll go cheap. It's Eating While Broke. But then on the poultry seasoning, I don't think I had an option. I said, oh, they special.
Let me start seasoning.
But
you know,
yeah,
you know
go
what I'm talking
ahead.
about?
I cleaned the chicken thighs for you.
I appreciate that.
I can honestly say I don't remember the last time I cooked chicken thighs.
What did you eat while you were trying to get it together?
Yeah, I'm Jamaican, so even my husband's gonna laugh at me all day. But I didn't really cook with Lowry's until my husband, and he
What?
based everything in Lowry's.
As
I'll
he
be
should.
having salt poisoning every dish.
Yo,
It's bad.
but it tastes delicious.
It's salty.
Shout out to your husband.
Shout out to using less Lowry's if you can.
That's what people think. But here's the thing that you got to understand. Lawry's gives you the flavor and the pop. Lawry's is what we grew up on. Lawry's is, Lawry's.
Oh, you're gonna put it on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have brought you a cutting board.
It's all good.
It's okay. We're gonna have to throw the camera. You got to eat this too.
I understand. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Oh, that's a lot of Lawry's.
First and foremost,
For
it was the first
all
pour.
y'all listeners, he's pulled the chicken thighs out, and he just completely coated it in Lawry's. Now, I'm deeply concerned because my husband does the same, and usually I can't even taste anything besides salt. But
You'll taste it.
okay, so he put the Lawry's, then the pepper. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got the
So the
garlic
key
powder.
is to always, you feel it. There ain't no measuring cups. You feel what you think your food needs, right?
Okay.
Now, interestingly enough, when you're doing this, I was coming from a place of, oh my goodness, I had only had the $20 that I spent on the food. Like, this is when I had just gotten to LA in a roommate scenario, and I had 4 other roommates. I had the master bedroom because I
Where'd
talked
you
them
move
into
from?
having my own
Detroit?
spot. Yeah, coming from Detroit. Interestingly enough, when I came from Detroit, I moved here right after my 21st birthday. I had told my mother I want to go to LA to follow my dreams. But in order to get to LA, I need money. So I'm going to go to New York, Chicago, and Atlanta to perform and make some money. I'm going to save that money, and then I'm going to go to LA. So for my birthday, my mother...
like doing stand-up.
Yeah. So I started doing stand-up at 18 years old. Actually, the first time was in my high school auditorium because a comedy show came to the school. Kool-Aid, legendary, rest in peace, Melvin Bender, Martez Jackson, and Chanel, Simply Chanel. And my dream was to be a comedian ever since I was a little boy, and I just never knew how I would get into it. Watching Martin on TV, I wanted to be Martin Lawrence. And the way that it ended up happening was I walked up to the comedians and I said, hey, man, I would love to perform with y'all. And he was like, yo, you want to open up? And I was like, right now? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, right? So I get on stage.
Oh, you actually did it. Oh,
right there.
Okay.
I get on stage in front of my entire school.
Was that your first time or no?
First time. I was sweating bullets. I was scared as fuck. And I get on stage and I said something about a security guard that we had at our school. He was also the head coach. Very large man. And I said, yeah, man, he chasing people. He can't even make it down the hallway. Everybody laughs hard because they knew him. And I was like, all right, we're going to keep this show going, y'all. And I brought the comedian up. And after I brought him up, the rest was history.
Wait,
so,
do you need to plug this Foreman grill in?
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
I forgot it wasn't on. So, fast forward 2 years, I tell my mom that story about, my plan. And she says, great. So do your thing. My birthday comes, she gives me a birthday card and a gift certificate inside for $1,000. And she said, go follow your dreams, go straight to LA.
Wow.
So I moved to LA.
So you ended up skipping, did you skip New York?
Yeah, I didn't have to go to any of those places. Well, I went there later as I was in LA to perform, but I didn't have to go there before.
Because she gave you the.
Exactly.
Okay. $1,000 ain't a lot.
It is, let me tell you something.
So what happens? I'm
It
curious
was
to
a lot of money for somebody
I
who
want to
had
hear
nothing.
how you managed this $1,000.
So my mom made me make her a deal. She said, okay, I should have seasoned all 4 of these at once, but I got distracted. Anyway, so my mom said, how long do you think it'll take you to get on TV? And I said, I'll be on TV in 6 months. This is me. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, buy an open-ended ticket and buy your return ticket for 6 months from now. So that'll be by Christmas. And if you're not on TV by Christmas, you have to move back home and go back to school because I was in college. And I was like, deal. So
Oh, you made the deal.
I made the deal because I believe in myself.
And you only had $1,000 though.
$1,000.
Okay.
So
I like
the
this.
ticket cost $340 round trip at that time.
Okay.
And then she asked me if I had a place to stay. I said yes. Of course, I was lying because I didn't want her to not let me go to LA. So I came to LA.
And you're how old at this time? 20?
21.
21. Okay.
So I came to LA and I reached out to Corey Holcomb. He's the first comedian who I've been a fan of his since I was a kid. And he was the first comedian that I had seen in Detroit that lived in LA that would help me. And he's like, yeah, when you get to LA, just hit me up. So I came to LA, I hit him up, and he got me on at the Comedy Store on a Tuesday night, which was one of the most popular nights in the city. And I was able to showcase, word got around town that I was funny, and I started performing everywhere else, right? But the problem was I was homeless. So I'm like, my friend Real Battle, really big now, he's on a Peacock show, it's my boy. I had met him at Laughapalooza down in Atlanta 8 months prior. And he was like, yo, I'm in LA. I'm like, cool. Hey, man, can I leave my suitcase at your crib and maybe stay on your floor for like a week?
And how are you getting around LA? You don't have a car,
The
right?
bus.
Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
the bus and the subway.
Oh, you really gangster. And I've
Yeah.
been, let me tell you something. I'm going to interrupt you. I love this story already because I've been to your house. It's beautiful. It's
Thank you.
fantastic. And I would love to live on your couch. Okay. So if you just know like how he's living now, this is an
Yeah.
amazing story. So continue. Sorry.
So, so I'm homeless. I'm at Real's crib. I'm like, I got my suitcases there, and I went and got a gym membership so I could take showers at the gym, so I didn't overstay my welcome at his crib.
Okay.
So I would get up really early. I would get to his crib really late at night, so that way you didn't even notice that I'm there, right?
Okay.
So I could stay longer. So a week turned into a month, and at the end of that month, he's like, "Yo, man, I'm going out of town. You gotta find somewhere else to stay because my roommates don't want you here without me." I'm like,
Oh,
damn.
damn.
All right. So I was hanging out with Corey one night, Corey Holcomb, and there's another comedian, Vanessa Graddick. And he was like, "Yo, why don't you just stay with Vanessa? She ain't got no man." And I was like, "Can I?" Right? And I wasn't trying to smash. I was really just needed a place
Yeah.
to live. And she let me stay on her floor for a couple of months. And I was a floor sleeper. And then
So were you doing the same thing where you're like out early and then like just sleeping on the floor at night? Were you trying to
no,
be
at
a
her
fly?
crib, I was just there all the time. I was like, all right, I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? But so my friends from high school were in town, and we go to the movies. And when we go to the movies, he was like, "Yo, man, I wish you lived out here because we're looking for another roommate." And I was like, "I live out here. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, wow, maybe you could be the fourth roommate."
Wait, your friends from high school
Yeah.
come to visit though?
They came to visit. No, well, okay, let me back up. So one of my friends from high school was coming to LA, right? The other friend had already lived out here, but I didn't know he was living here.
Yeah.
So they were talking to my other friend who was visiting, and they're like, "Man, we wish you lived out here." And I'm like, "I live out here," and they're like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, I didn't even know you lived out here." And we had this big moment that we were shocked, and then. Long story short, I became the roommate they were looking for.
Wow.
So-
Look at God.
It was all
Wow.
God. So I moved in there, had the roommates, and at this point, the only way that I'm making money is I had DVDs. I filmed a DVD of my own in Detroit before I moved out to LA. And I was like, worst come to worst, I can sell this DVD and make money, right?
Yeah.
So my share of the rent was only $287.50 because there were four of us. And that was my share of the rent. So
Were
I was
you guys like sharing rooms?
no. There were 2 bedrooms and then there was a living room.
Okay.
So in the very beginning, I stayed in the living room and the other guys stayed in, different rooms.
I love this. You were really broke. Okay, we
Oh, yeah.
we believe this now. Okay.
So one of my buddies, even when I first moved in, he was always with his girlfriend, right? So after a while, he just stopped living. He stopped living in the apartment with us. So I took over his room,
Okay.
but we needed people to make the rent up. So a couple of comedians, rest in peace, my guy Fuquan Johnson, he ended up moving in, and then I moved another guy in named RT. And one of them lived in the living room, the other one shared the other room with the other guy, and I was in the main bedroom. Bedroom attached to the bathroom, felt incredible. I was bringing girls there, and they loved it. Seemed like I lived by myself, even though I had these roommates. And because my rent portion was so low, I'm like, all right, $287.50. I need to sell 30 DVDs a month, and that's how I can
Smart.
make money, right?
Okay.
So I was
So
always
no day
performing.
job.
No day job.
Oh, I love it.
Only doing comedy, and I would do comedy at night especially, and I would be extra funny. My goal, I had to be so funny that I could sell at least 10 DVDs per show or 5 or whatever. And I made my rent that way so many months just by, performing and selling 30 DVDs a month outside of doing other shows where I would make some money, right? But this is a huge testament to Enns Mitchell at the Comedy Union, which is no longer around, closed during the pandemic. Enns Mitchell at the Comedy Union would pay us $20 a spot, right? And with that $20 a spot, I would perform there and get $20 once a week, right? So actually twice a week. So I would get $40 for the weekend, and then I would take $20 of those dollars and buy my groceries.
Okay.
And my groceries were the boneless chicken,
The under 20.
the under
The
20.
under 20. Okay.
So now you see why it's under 20.
Okay, now
Because
I
I had
see.
to make sure that
Yeah.
I had this money to spread around. So I would buy broccoli, I would buy me some chicken, and I would get I had a gallon of water that I kept refilling for like a quarter.
You don't have to cook all that broccoli.
Well, I made a center now. We already here.
You chefing it today. Go on.
So That's how I would survive pretty much, right? I had my rent paid, phone bill. My sister in Detroit, I would be like, hey, could you please take care of my phone bill? And my sister took care of my phone bill for years.
Wow.
Like just off of, like at one point, she just stopped letting it be a borrow. And she was like, I'll just pay your phone bill until you can afford it yourself. And I was like, thank you. Because as a comedian, your phone is your most prized possession because you've got to be able to pick that phone up if you got a gig. Fast forward back to Enns Mitchell. Now we're in December, right? This has been a whole 6 months. And I'm like, man, I got to figure something out because I'm supposed to be going back home because I'm not on TV yet. Enns Mitchell calls me in his office and he says, listen, man, I think that you are hilarious. And I was like, thanks, man. And he's like, we're doing a TV show called Tony Rock's The Funny Spot. It's going to be on TV One.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in doing it? And I was like, when does it film? When does it film? And he's like, in 2 days. So it was December 20th. It filmed December 22nd.
Wow, saved by the almost had the return to Detroit flight.
So I called my mom. Like I didn't call my mom when it got announced. I called my mom right after I filmed it. And I said, Ma, I'll be home for Christmas, which my flight was leaving on the 23rd. So I called my mom. I say, listen, I'll be home, but I'm coming back to LA because I just booked my first TV appearance. So I kept my word. And that was the very beginning for me where I started to really see things happen. I would catch the bus to spots. I would leave in enough time to get to the place, and I would leave in enough time to get back home because that bus stopped around 11:30, 12 o'clock. And I always tell people, if you believe in yourself, things are going to happen. Like there was no, and what I mean is not just believing in yourself, but I always walk by faith and not by sight. Not getting religious, but it's just like, I knew that there was no other ending other than success for me. I wasn't going back home. I was not going to give up at no matter what. I mean, at no point. So the only option was success, and that's what happened.
Wow. Your story's incredible.
That's very sweet of you.
It's like watching a movie.
That's,
so when you made that phone call,
yes.
I just kind of want to know, like, the emotional state you were feeling, like, because that's got to be an incredible feat.
Oh, it was crazy.
Like, what were you thinking? Like, I can't wait to make this phone call to my mama. And you did it smooth, like you planned it too.
Yeah, because my mom, you know, I'm my mother's baby.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're the baby, your mom is always worrying about you. She's never thinking that you're okay. And I tried to call home for money, like not at all, because I didn't want her to think that I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And it was very nerve-wracking because obviously it's great to talk about now, but when you're in it, you don't see that light.
Yeah.
You just see the grind daily of what you're going through. And I never wish that on anybody, but at the same time, I knew then what I know now, which is everything is a journey. The journey is the story. You got to focus on where you're headed and that you know things will get better instead of focusing on the negative.
Yeah.
At any point, I could have been like, man, I'm on the bus. I got an air mattress, but girls were still coming to that crib at the air mattress, and I was on the bus.
Well, I think in your 20s it's different. I think guys in their 20s is like the best time to come up on women because women's standards are just like, Netflix and chill, it's fine.
That's not true.
Really?
That
you
is
think
not
women
true.
in their 40s are like, Netflix and chill, yes.
I think from personal experience that women go after driven men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much about, oh, I'm about to deal with this broke guy or this Netflix and chill guy. I'm dealing with this guy because he's going to be more than this air mattress. He's going to be more than this bus ride. He's going to be more than not being able to afford to take me anywhere. So those were the women that I have always attracted, women who weren't the materialistic women, but also women who could be materialistic. You're just like, you don't want me to buy you anything? And they're like, I could buy everything my own. You're like, oh, God bless you. You know what I mean? But there are a lot of women in the world who are in their 30s and 40s who would never even deal with the guy in their 30s and 40s that don't have what they have.
Yeah.
But I was very lucky to find women my age and older who saw the bigger picture in me.
Nice. Now, I love that you're faith-driven. And I can be pretty headstrong. But, and it could be the girl in me, but, you know, we're in a gender equality age, whatever it
These
be.
are facts.
even when my faith is the strongest, there have been points in my career where I was like, oh shit, I'm batshit crazy. Why the heck? It's like victim. You know, you go through the victim phase. Like,
Right.
why do I think I can do this anyways? And like, was there ever a point during that journey where you were like, there was that doubt where it poured in heavy? Like, was there a particular incident where you were like, you got shook a little bit?
Yes. Well, one, in my mind, I've always been a star, and this has been since I was a child. I can think back to a time in Detroit where I did a comedy show at Coco's House of Comedy, and Martez, back to the first story, who was one of the comedians at that school, he told my sister, he's like, yeah, your brother's funny, but he's arrogant. He's a little arrogant. And when his comedy meets his arrogance, he's going to be great. Mm-hmm. And my sister said something that I remember to this day. She laughed and she said, ha, my brother would be this way if he worked at McDonald's. And that's the God's honest truth. Yeah. I have always been this way. I've never been a cocky person. Cocky is what people call you, in the words of Kool-Aid, when your confidence meets their insecurities. Right?
Okay.
And that's so real.
Ooh,
like, people hate to see your head up if their head isn't up. So they have a way to try and bring you down.
So they say cocky. You being cocky.
You cocky. You arrogant. Okay, it's like, no, I just believe in myself, right?
Okay.
But to your point, to your question, I should say, I had an event shake me in my early 20s that I was like, oh, wow, life is real, right? I ran into a situation where I could have been arrested in prison for the rest of my life for something I didn't do. And it was like, what? Right? And we all know somebody who's in prison or in jail for something they didn't do, but they're still there. Yeah. So the fact that I am not there and was like, there's nothing in my name charges anything, it's like, this is God, right? Yeah. And with this, I owe it to him and to myself to make way more of myself than I was before. It was like, before it was all chasing women. And I'm gonna do some jokes, but I need to meet some girls, right?
You sound like my husband.
to really buckling down and focusing, and that's a lot of credit to my wife, man. My wife has been with me as my friend since year 2 of me being in LA.
Wow!
And she was one of those women that we were so tight as friends. I had no choice but to be myself with her, right? And what that means to a lot of people is when you're friends with a woman. And you're just friends, even though I was trying to smash from day one, you are honest, right? She knows the real me. She knows that I love women. She knows of how I am, right? So she had that honesty, and then she still chose to be with me. So from that, she helped me become who I am. I would not have gotten 80% of the blessings that I've received had it not been for her in my life and in my corner. So, yeah.
Wow. Ooh, don't look. I'm gonna cut the commercial. Cut the commercial.
I'm not gonna put yours on the plate. I'm
gonna get you another plate.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
So we're back from commercial break with some nice smelling chicken, and just kind of tailoring off to where we left off in regards to your wife being
my rock, my everything, pretty much. She my wife's name is Tangerine. She is a very successful actress and producer. She was doing this when she met me, right? Like she had like 2 movies coming out when she met me. I think one of the first ones that I got super excited about was Miss March and Love for Sale, because I love quest comedies, like like a journey film, like when you watch A Road Trip, things like that. Like I love those types of movies, and that's what Miss March was. And then Love for Sale was just an incredible comedy as well. But she had these movies coming out as I met her as my friend, and as time went on, my first real television opportunity to become a writer on like real TV, like everything I had written before wasn't really credited, right? It was credited, but they didn't go to air. Because of my wife, she introduced me to one of my childhood heroes, Bentley Kyle Evans, producer of the Jamie
know the
Foxx
Evans
show,
family.
Martin.
We need to have them on here. We're gonna do that.
You gotta have.
We're gonna have them. Yeah.
So Bentley changed my life, right? Wow. Bentley and Stacey Evans Morgan, his sister, also an amazing producer and writer, and now Evans, the Evans family.
Yeah.
Without them, I wouldn't have a career, and that goes to say so many of what they had done for me. Niall first, because during that dark point in my life that I was mentioning to you, Niall had just reached out to me. I didn't even know he knew me, right? Like I was just doing comedy in clubs, and he reached out to me, and he sent me a message that said, "This too shall pass." Right? Anytime you're going through a dark moment, I always remember this too shall pass, because it will. Whether that be time
He
or
randomly
just
sent you that?
randomly. And he was doing a Twitter TV show called, because Twitter was doing videos at the time, and it was called Trending Funny. And Trending Funny, if you look it up, you probably still find it. Trending Funny was all of these hashtag topics that I would make jokes from that he wrote. And it would just be on camera, and it was fun. And from that, Bentley saw that after I got to talk to Bentley because of my wife. She was working on a show called The Rev, and I met him, and I was like, "I'm a writer," and he was like, "Yeah, all right," and I was like, "I am a writer," and he was like, "Okay." And
this
I was
is
like,
to Bentley or to Niall?
This is to Bentley. Niall was already my guy.
Okay.
So Bentley, I told him I was a writer, and I said, "Are you staffing? Like, I would love to be on your staff, right?" And he was like, "Look, man, I don't really have a traditional writing staff, but if you write a spec script of one of the shows, I'll check it out." And I was like, "All right, man, I'll write a spec script." And he kind of waved me off, like he didn't believe me, right? And I was like, "I'll write 4 spec scripts." And it was a Tuesday night. I remember it was the red carpet for Family Time Season 1. I remember that. So it's red carpet for Family Time Season 1. My wife is on the red carpet, Angel Conwell, Omar Gooding, and Bentley. And I said I was going to write 4 scripts by Friday of that week by noon. And he was like, "All right, man."
You told him you were going to do it
I
before
told
you
him
did
I
it.
was gonna do
Okay.
it. So, and this is
a lot of pressure.
It's unheard of.
Okay.
Nobody can write 4 scripts in that amount of time, right? Except your boy.
Yeah, okay.
I wrote those scripts, and I finished the last script at 11:55 a.m. that Friday, and I sent it off to him right before noon. He responded back. He said, "Listen, man, I don't care about anything but the fact that you sent this just like you said you would. You and I are going to work together because you just reminded me of me." This is in an email. I'm like, "Bet." Time goes by. Also, let me preface this. The scripts are not formatted properly at all. Like, these are not formatted scripts that are good. I was brand new as a writer, but they were funny. And about 6 months goes by, I'm getting angry because I ain't heard nothing from Bentley. And I see...
You want to turn this down?
Yeah, let me turn the broccoli off. Thanks. So I see Stacey Evans Morgan come to the Comedy Store to see Brescia Webb. And Brescia, of course, is their family as well, because Love That Girl is a show that she was one of the stars of. So I'm angry when I see her. I'm like, "Hey, I sent your brother them scripts. I ain't hear nothing." And she was like, "Hi, how you doing?" I was so out of pocket. God bless Stacey, because she saw something in me. She said, "Hi, send me the scripts." And I was like, "All right." I sent her the scripts. And 3 days later, she gives me a call, and she says, "I read your scripts. You're a great storyteller, and you're very funny. The formatting isn't there, but I see that you have something. Would you be interested in pitching some ideas for Love That Girl this season?" And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "Okay, come up with about 2 to 3 ideas and come pitch them to me and Bentley." And I was like, "Done," right? I show up to Bentley's home at this time. This is about a couple days later. Show up to Bentley's home. And when I get there, there's so many writers in a circle in his house. It's like one of the guest rooms, and everybody's pitching these ideas. And he gets to me, and she told me to pitch 2 or 3 ideas.
I already know. You came up with like 15, huh?
I came up with 20 ideas and just start rattling them off. And everyone, like after each one, I'd be like, "Hey, how's this?" He's like, "We got something similar." "All right, I got another one." And I got another one. And I just kept going. And I get the call later that night that they accepted one of the ideas and were going to give me a script. What I did not know was how much money I was supposed to be making. Because the previous writing gigs that I had made like $1,500 a week writing scripts, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that was the industry norm. However...
Tell us.
However...
What is it?
At this point, I didn't have those roommates. I had moved into a studio apartment that Tangerine helped me get.
Are you guys dating officially?
Yeah, we're dating officially.
Okay.
But
this
she
is
still
juicy.
lived in her crib. I lived in mine. I had the studio. It was my first apartment ever by myself.
Okay. How much was it? Come on.
I'm trying to let me lead you now. So this studio apartment, I was fresh in, and I had basically given furniture. Like I had a bed for my guy Michael DeBay. I had a couch, a TV, like the essentials. But I didn't know how I was going to pay this rent, because this rent was a couple more hundred than I was used to making. paying. So I asked randomly to the writer's assistant, my guy Alex Kavutsky. I said, "Hey man, just out of curiosity, how much am I getting paid for this script?" I'm thinking it's gonna be like $2 or $3 grand because I had made 1,500 before, and this is TV One. This is about to be great.
I'm so excited right now.
And he was like, "Oh, it's paying 10 grand," and I was like, "All right, cool, thanks." Right? So 10 grand, I had never even seen this type of money
yeah,
before.
of course. How old are you? Like 24?
I'm 20.
23?
No, I'm 24.
Yeah.
Right? This is 2011. I'm 86. I was born 86. So what? How? That's 24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
So
I don't know.
I get 10 grand. I'm super excited.
Oh, I'm excited for you. I wish I could have been there. Yeah.
So I get the 10 grand from that. And here's the even more quick story. Like I said, my wife is plant-based. I've always struggled with eating healthy and not eating healthy. Weight been up and down. But I say this for a reason. So we had gotten into a relationship because she got me on this radio show called Chopping It Up Live, which was ran by this guy who's this health food guru guy, and I would get paid every week. Anyway, that company, D Herbs, started a weight loss challenge between myself and this cool little white girl, and the first person who could lose 20 pounds the fastest would get $1,000, right? So I just got the check from Love That Girl, and then I won the weight loss competition. So I had 11 grand.
Wow, okay.
I immediately went to go buy a truck because I had a car, but it got into an accident and all of that. So I went and bought a truck, and my rent was taken care of for a while, right? And from that point, after Love That Girl, a show called My Crazy Roommate came up that Bentley was doing. And after Bentley did that show, I was like, oh man, maybe I can audition for it. Because I know he knows I'm an actor, but you got to remember, in the city, people aren't always up to date with your gifts, right? So I had to audition, I booked it.
Damn.
And, but I wanted to book a series regular role on that show. Because it was like all these 20-somethings, I was 20-something, I was ready. And I didn't get that role, but he gave me a guest star on the show.
Okay, nice.
I was kind of bummed, but I killed it. Anyway.
Now, at that point, did you want to transition away from writing because you were trying to do the acting, or were you trying to do both?
I was trying to do both, but I've always been more interested in being on camera. But writing came easier to me because I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
So.
You're a great storyteller.
That is very kind of you to say. So, what ended up happening was I didn't book that role. I booked the guest star role. I got the guest star role. And I really wanted to be on that show because everybody was so young and just like me. And that show ended up getting canceled.
Wow.
Family Time, which is from earlier, that my wife was on season 1, they were bringing that back. I was in the writer's room for Family Time. I wrote a character. First of all, this was about to be full circle because Corey Holcomb was on season 1 of Family Time. Corey Holcomb was shooting Black Jesus. He couldn't do Family Time season 2. So we broke his character into 2 people, right? Cousin Dave and Donnie. And with this character, Donnie, I brought in all the comedians that I knew because Bentley loves comedians. I was bringing in all my friends, and I'm like, yo, just go kill it. And midway through the auditions for Donnie, I looked at Bentley. I was like, can I read for this? He was like, yeah, but you got to go in after all your friends. And I was like, oh, because my friends were bringing the heat. You understand me? So all my friends go. I'm hearing laughter outside the room. I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm going to follow this. And then I go in. I do my audition. I'm feeling self-conscious because I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be as funny as my friends. Like, this backfired, right?
Yeah.
So I get a call later that night, and Bentley said, I'm going to give you the role of Donnie because you earned it. You were funny. And I was like, what? Right? Cut to, we end up filming 7 more seasons of my character as Donnie. So when I say sometimes blessings are in disguise, I wanted to be on Crazy Roommate so bad as a regular, and that show got canceled. And I was a writer and an actor on Family Time for 8 seasons.
Wow. And in how much money were you making at that time, if you don't mind?
It went up every season, but initially.
Was it as much as writing?
Oh, the writing was great, and it was good money. It was a little less than, okay, let's keep in mind, TV One's budget was for that script, right? Instead of just being on staff. So when you're on staff, you get a weekly amount of money. When you just turn in a script, you get a set little rate. So I had that set rate for Love That Girl, Family Time, I made a little less as far as just the script, but I was able to write more and more episodes, and I got more seasons of episodes to write, so it made a lot more money.
Wow.
And then I was getting the acting check as well, which was great. It was like, you know, I had never had anything.
Yeah.
So you're looking at me being.
And you're SAG at this point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know all the rules of SAG, but yeah.
It's yeah. But so you're looking at a kid who had nothing, and because of my wife's introduction to me to Bentley Kyle Evans and through Niall and Stacey Evans Morgan, I was on a TV show for 8 years. And in the middle of the 8 years, I worked on other projects. Like I was able to be a consultant on Wild 'N Out with Niall because that relationship previously.
Yeah, ironically, so Niall and I have known each other since I was like 2021. He came up here and he taped. You have to see his episode what he taped, guys. We haven't released it yet.
He's the best.
But Niall is definitely a breath of fresh air. But my whole crew will tell you when Niall came up in here, the energy shifted because Niall is almost like a mentor to me. So it's like he came up in there, he had his director, he was like, do this, tweet this, tweet this.
Nope, this shouldn't be like that.
I had to send Niall an email afterwards assuring him that we had the run of show written out because he was concerned. And he even offered for me to come out to his house because we don't live far from each other.
Nice.
So he can help me, which I do need to reach out to him. But Niall and I freaking love Niall.
Niall's the best.
I worked with Nick Cannon for a long time, and I remember
Nicholas.
I was like literally going broke trying to produce this company, and he was like, Nick's opening a studio, just move in. I'm like, you think so? You think I can do it? He was like, bruh, he's getting the keys on this date. You better go ahead. And yeah, I made the phone call. Nick was like, move on in.
Nick's
like,
a very
thanks.
nice guy, but Niall and Niall's like my big brother.
Niall's freaking incredible. Yeah, he has that brother energy, right? But I love that. It's your story is so incredible. We tape a lot of shows on Eating While Broke, but nothing gets me more excited than like hearing these types of like, damn, you went through it to make it.
And we didn't even get to the internet. That's what's so crazy.
Oh, so we ain't done yet.
Well,
I mean, we're gonna go over time, guys. But
yeah.
so now that we've seen your TV and your writing journey, your acting and your writing, how did you end up becoming a social media influencer? Because that's a tricky transition. Tell me the tea.
Interestingly enough, remember the name Jahan Jones. Jahan Jones had been, I had known him since he got to LA, right, from the East Coast. And he had been asking me to shoot sketches with him for years. And I'm like, hey man, I'm an actor, brother. I don't do sketches. You know, I'm on TV. You don't know if you've seen the show, right? And he's like, no, it's cool, man. But you should come shoot with me. It's great. And I never wanted to do internet, honestly, because I was scared. I was scared that comment section and people, if you're not funny, people say something crazy to you and all. I was just afraid that I wouldn't be as funny on the internet as I was on stage, and that it would hurt me. Even more interesting was the fact that when you do online content compared to television, at that time it was like, people aren't going to respect this. Am I going to get roles, whatever? And to be honest, I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to start something over because at this point doing stand-up, I had been doing it 13, 14 years at the time of, doing the videos. And then acting, I was already becoming an even better actor because I had put my years in, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to start something brand new on such a wide scale.
Yeah.
Anyway, during the course of Family Time and Wild 'N Out, I had also started doing all these other game shows. I'm writing on them. One of the game shows, I met a brother who run, the company's changed names now, but it was 51 Minds at the time. Christian Sharabia, great guy, super cool. We had worked on a VH1 show that I wrote on.
Yeah.
And after the show finished, I said, hey man, I want to pitch you some shows that I want to do. Like, let's make some money. He's like, come on in. I go in, I go pitch to him. Marlon Wayans has a company. I talked to Marlon. I said, hey man, I want to pitch some stuff. And he's like, yo, come through. I pitched some stuff to his company. Both companies told me, look man, we like you. You're a great guy, but you don't have the numbers. If you had 1 million followers, we would be doing
the
this
numbers
show with
game,
you.
yeah.
We'd be doing it with you right now.
Yeah.
But you don't have the numbers, and you want to be the star of these shows. It'd be different if you were just trying to sell them, like, here, let somebody else do it, but you want to be a part of it. And I was like, I understand. I leave. I'm still not thinking about doing the internet. My brother, BT Kingsley, is doing a Comedy Central special, right? 30-minute Comedy Central special produced by Kevin Hart. He had just done the Heart of the City show with Joey Wills. I go to this taping. I'm like, man, this is great, but this is January 2017, and I am stagnant. I'm feeling like, man, I'm not where I want to be in my career. I'm like, I got the TV show, but I'm not selling out comedy shows. I'm not on tour.
And you're still doing comedy in between.
And I'm still doing stand-up, but I'm not getting the stand-up love, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, man, what am I going to do?
And is your cash flow still smooth at this point?
Cash flow is cool, but it's like, you know, when the season is over, if you spent that money, you got to wait for another season.
Yeah.
And glory be to God, Bentley kept me working on all these shows, writing, and I'm acting on Family Time, but I would write on In the Cut and there's other shows, but, you know, time, you know, so I'm like, man, I need to do something. And at that taping, Jahan was there. And we were backstage in BT's dressing room after he gets off stage, and Jahan was like, hey, man, you got to come shoot with us, man. And I was like, fuck it, man. When do you shoot, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the point in my career, my way ain't working.
Yeah.
So I might as well learn.
Yeah.
I go to Sketch House. It's ran by KP, and I'm B More, and Jahan at this time, which Jahan had 1 million followers, beautiful women all around, other content creators. Everybody's just creating this content. I'm trying to learn what to do, right? Everybody shooting with their phone, and I had KP teach me how to edit on my phone in iMovie to shoot these quick, at that time, 1-minute videos.
So you're on the Instagram. You're like after Vine. After Vine.
Yeah, I didn't get into Vine.
Okay, got
all
it.
Instagram. So I started doing it. King Karan was there my first day, and King Karan was just sitting around on his phone. And I was like, hey, man, could you hop in a sketch? He was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Shot my first 2 sketches. The first sketch went viral. I'm talking about the sketch was When a Joke Doesn't Work. It was myself, Young Easy, King Karan, KP, Jahan, my boy Tyree. There were so many people in this sketch because I was like, if I get all of them in my video, it's gonna go viral, right? But that doesn't work. What actually works if it's funny. So I did the video When a Joke Doesn't Work, and of course I made the punchline where I'm like, I told a joke and nobody laughed and they made fun of me. It hit 1 million views on Facebook, and it hit I think 100,000 on Instagram that day.
Okay.
So I was hooked. King Karan was like, hey, create you a Facebook fan page. Don't do it in your personal name. And I just kept creating Instagram videos like over and over and over. Wow. And then the algorithm changed that following year. I used to go from at least 1 million views on a video or a couple of 100,000 on a video within a day or two to 5,000 for the day. And I'm like, oh, because the algorithm was trying to push you to buy ads. Yeah. So that next year, my guy, Big Ja, he was like, yo, man, why don't you go to YouTube? I'm like, I ain't doing YouTube, man. I'm trying to get this Instagram popping. I'm trying to pop. Yeah. And he was like, but you ain't making no money off Instagram. You're just getting views. So it don't matter if you get 1 million or 1,000, you're not getting that money. Go to YouTube. And I'm like, all right. And I went to YouTube, and I was like, how long does this take to crack, man? And he was telling me. And I asked him, I was like, how long did it take you to make some money? He was like, man, my first check was $200, and then my next check was 10 grand. And I was like,
oh shit, what did I sign up?
Right? And he's like, yeah. I started doing videos immediately. Like, I was flooding the system. I was dropping 7 videos a week, one every single day. Okay. And then from that February of 2018 to that May, I take that back. Nope. Yeah, it was it was 2018, 2019, but it was like from that February to that May, I had grasped 100,000 subscribers, right? Okay. Got my plaque from YouTube. And my first check was my first check was 10,000. My second one was 8,000. And it was like each month.
But how long did it take you to get to that first check?
So the first month that I did YouTube videos, it was that February. By the end of that cycle of March, I had made, like, I was making progress, but by the deadline, I hadn't even hit $100. Wow. After that deadline is when everything hit. Okay. So I got the rest of that month, like, which was probably $80. And then that next month, which all my videos had totaled almost $10,000. So I got that money, and then I just kept the ball rolling. Wow. And then I started posting even more on Facebook, and they both took off. Because I know you like numbers. The highest.
I know you curious.
I know you like, yeah. So, I mean, who wouldn't be if you're watching this?
I
So,
know.
the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already started seeing success with my sketches on Facebook, but I didn't see the boom of followers. Like, I was
Yeah.
only at like 100,000 followers, and I got reached out to do a comedy show in New York. Did it. It was a success. I came back, and the pandemic hit a couple months later. We had went out of the country. We having good times, and then the pandemic hits. And I'm like, well, I can't shoot sketches like I was before. I got to do something else. I started doing reaction videos where I would take a clip of a video, and I would write jokes to this video, like my reaction to it, but not like 5 seconds, like, oh, this is crazy, look at this. It was like I would actually create a separate video of jokes for this video.
Yeah.
So a video that might have been 40 seconds is now a 6-minute video because I put my jokes on it.
Yeah.
And doing those videos garnered me, I'm up to 1.2 million followers on Facebook and millions of views on these videos.
Yeah.
A lot of my sketches are viral, but these reaction videos took a life of their own.
Yeah.
So some of those videos hit 22 million, some of them hit 30 million, 5 million, 10 million, like, you know, and a lot of people showed me love. And then I got, which every content creator deals with at some point, you get shadow banned where everybody doesn't get to see your stuff. You're always at the mercy of the algorithm. But anyway, in the pandemic, my highest month where I was like, this is crazy. I made, let me tell you full circle.
Tell
My
me something
highest
that's going to
month,
make me stand.
August of 2020, I had made in 1 month $64,000.
Oh, shit. I'm quitting. I quit eating watermelon. Oh, snap.
I made the $64,000.
In a pandemic. Do you know how great that is?
It was a blessing. So
Shoot.
that $64,000 came.
I think everyone in the room is reevaluating, huh?
I mean, they look
You
like they
gotta
know
say-
some guys who made hundreds of thousands in a day,
That's
probably.
you want to know
So,
something, though?
yeah.
You got to think. You come all the way from Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, you're focused. You come here with nothing, and we got to try this dish. We're over time, but you're focused, you know, and you're coming from where we're all familiar with this space of like being broke with the under 20 dish. But look how far you've come, and even in the face of like fear, you're like, well, you know, I don't know about this new pivot. Essentially, you take a chance on the pivot, and you murder it.
Take a chance.
And I love it.
Believe in yourself.
I love it.
But the full circle for the 64,000, the next month, I had done a video. You got to remember, this is the pandemic.
Wow.
Because there's a pandemic, the computer is now the person that is reading through and watching the videos that you upload. I had done a video, usually before there are people in the office that do it. I did a video. The computer misread it. I got demonetized for 90 days. So
What does
I
that
didn't
mean?
make any money for
Oh,
those
shoot.
next 90 days.
Oh no.
Broccoli's a little too spicy. Let me taste the chicken.
All right. You can be your own critic,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm going to tell you right now.
Tell me.
This food is delicious.
Mm,
It's tender, which
thank you.
yeah, it's very tender.
This chicken is great.
And I thought the way you were pouring those Lawry's, I thought I was gonna die of a heart attack.
I told you you were not. It's all about how you do it.
I thought for sure it was gonna be the saltiest dish I've ever had.
No. Because I'm not about to eat saltiness. But this used to be also, in chicken thighs from Rouse, you get about 8 of them. And I would do 2 at a time. I would bring girls over, and I would be like, yo, let me make you some chicken. They'd be like, okay. And if I made the chicken, and they just wanted to have sex before I made the chicken, I'm like, God damn it, you fucking made me you made me use chicken. This is supposed to last me the week, and you ain't gonna eat this shit? Yes, we can fuck, but
wait.
God damn it.
If you had sex before you cooked it,
Like, while it's cooking, and she come over there trying to rub on me and shit. I'm like, the fucking chicken ain't done. You don't even want the chicken.
oh, guys, the way guys think, I love it. We should just have a guy decoded show. Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time. We've already ran out of time. We already ran the clock. How can people, like, if they wanted to get a hold of you or wanted to support you, like, how could they keep up with, like, your shows and what's going on? Besides Instagram, because we know you're Insta famous. Or is that the only way? Oh, you're still chewing. Okay. Go ahead, chew.
I'm not Insta famous. I am internet popular. King Batch is insta famous. You see me on the street, hey, that's my thing. But CT is dope on everything. Just Google CT is dope and all my stuff will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And subscribe to everything. It'd be a great help.
Yeah, fill them pockets up. Fill them pockets up. Thank you so much for coming to our show and blessing our set with amazing food.
Amen.
Now officially Eating While Broke Cookbook has real meals in it that involve chicken. For all y'all chicken lovers.
Mussels, that's crazy.
Yes, for all y'all chicken lovers, we are finally blessed with a chicken dish that's under $20. And this meal for under $20 serves as at least a minimum of 4 meals. And if you are afraid of the carbs, this dish is perfect for you. So if you're watching that fat and that firm figures, this is it.